Welcome back, everyone. Toyshiz here, and I am back yet again to bring you guys another robot video, this time featuring a brand new toy line by Nacelle Toys. This is not the reignition, not the reboot, but the very return of Robo Force. And this is Wave 1 of Nacelle Corp's very important toy line. Robo Force Wave 1 features Max 89. You may know him kind of sort of by Max Steel, but let's not call him that. He is Max 89, and the box is very clean, very pristine. Again, part of the very important toy line. On the side of the box, a big old number 1 with the name of the figure, and on the back side, really gorgeous artwork and a really nice bio. Really helped me learn more about Max 89. I totally dug that, and you get to see the rest of the figures in Wave 1. Here's the barcode for Max 89, and then of course, well, this is Wrecker, the big yellow robot, and I love how they really do encapsulate the 80s, right? All the different colors, just, it's very cool. Again, same as Max 89, very important toy, size of the box, number 2, along with the name Wrecker, and again, some gorgeous artwork, along with a nice bio for Max 89's little buddy right here. Now, these are available only online as of right now, and I'll put a link down in the description below for Entertainment Earth. So, this is going to be fun. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of coffee. This is a look at the brand new Robo Force Wave 1 featuring Max 89 and Wrecker by Nacelle Toys. And just before we get to wrecking it, I just want to say thanks so much for always checking out my videos. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Old toys, new toys, daily news updates. I guarantee you'll find something here that you like. Now, enough about all that. Well, we got some robots to talk about. So here's everything out of the box for Max 89. You get a nice, heavy, hefty figure with some suction cup action. Look at that. You can rock them back and forth. They're very strong suction cups. So anybody that was wondering, oh, they're not going to be strong enough, they're definitely strong enough. They definitely keep this heavy, hefty figure aloft. Now, in terms of the accessories, you get multiple attachments like this wired, I'm assuming ion cannon. I'm just making up names here, but less paint, a lot more plastic, but it still looks pretty nice with the whole design of it, along with this little, we'll say satellite-looking dish thingy or laser beam, whatever you want it to be. And then you have an extra hand with some big old popped Wolverine claws coming out the top right there. Nice wash, especially when we look at the figure, you'll see. Very cool, nice paint overall. And then we get into the big guns with a big old attachment right here. I like the copper look right there at the front, which bleeds into the gunmetal. That's actually really nice. Now, I'll tell you, it could have used just a little bit more paint, maybe just to kind of designate the wire and such, but it attaches right there. And then you have a giant gun for Max to hold. It's actually very well done. I like the look of this. Again, same sort of copper that bleeds into the gunmetal of the gun. I love this thing. It's a big, hefty, robotic gun. I just wish it fired something, like a spring-loaded cannon. That would have been just an extra bonus, right? But let's talk Max 89 here. And he's got the suction cups, and you could just kind of finagle him off, and then, yeah, you get a good look at the guy. Now, I love the head portrait. It very much reminds me a little bit of R2-D2, and batteries not included, all in one. He's a very friendly robot, but he can take care of business when necessary, of course. And I love the front plate right here. Very 80s, very colorful. It says Max. All the different sculpted elements. Now, this is by Toy Biz designer David Vonner. You can totally tell his work right here. The suction cups, everything. It's very cool. It just has a really nice touch of Toy Biz to this. It's a very solid action figure, and it's a little 90s, a little 80s, and a brand new toy all in one. So they've managed to encapsulate all of that in one go. The design on this is really cool. You have to look at all the different details. The wash on it, like I said, got yellow paint, blue, grays here and there. So they really went to town with the wash, which really makes all that design come to life. It just really makes it pop. So hands down, this is a great looking robot action figure. In terms of the articulation, the head will spin. I like what they did here with the shoulders and the arms. It's on a really solid ball peg right there. You can get a lot of rotation out of it without having too many extra joints. He's very robotic and not flesh and blood, and I think that they nailed that aspect of it. He does have, we'll say, upper bicep, right? Robotic bicep, if you will. He's got double jointed elbows, which totally work, but I would say it kind of mimics a single jointed almost, and he spins at the wrists. You can pop the hands out easy peasy if you'd like. The nice thing about the extra hand is that you can use it on either side. It doesn't matter, you just basically flip it. I wouldn't have minded some extra hands, maybe a more open clampy type hand, just as like a gesturing hand. But in either sense, the bladed hand is definitely a nice touch. Waist swivel, which works pretty well. The legs will kick out. Again, very sturdy in the joints. Double jointed, very cool right there. And I got to give it to him. This is the first time in a while where I haven't had to say, you got to heat this up. This is a brand new toy company making toys, and they did a great job on this. Very, very solid. Nothing's loose. Just kind of get to know where the joints and such are when fiddling around with the figure, and you'll be stellar and ready to go. Plus, like I said, the suction cups really do help the guy stand. And if you're wondering why we're not using my wooden display, well, for this very reason, so we can get him to stand. That's maybe one of the caveats to this, is that he works really well with a mirrored surface, glass, something like that. See how sturdy he is? Wood and everything else, not going to have much to grip on. Now, in terms of attaching all the different weapons and parts to him, this piece goes in there. This piece goes right underneath his arm right there onto his back. As you can see, it just simply slots in. You kind of have to finagle it. You'll get to know it after a while. The cannon goes right there on the top of his shoulder. And then, of course, you got the big old Mamma Jamma gun. And there you have Max 89. And he looks great. He displays great. He looks like a big, menacing, tough guy robot. It's very cool looking. Now, one thing I will say, though, is that in this day and age, while it's not really a problem, I would say that having the option to be able to swap pieces here and there, maybe put the cannon somewhere else, that would have been ideal. But like I said, he gets very top heavy, but the suction cups really do help to keep him aloft. So honestly, with a couple nitpicks here and there, I would say this is a pretty solid designed robot, lots of great weapons, and overall, just a really cool toy for your shelf. Which brings us to the Wrecker, the yellow robots with all the different attachments, if you will. But if you thought Max was heavy, wait till you get a look at this guy. Now, he comes with two attachments, the first one being a bunch of purple blasting futuristic cannons on top of a very cool chain. The chain is plastic, but it looks almost like a real chain. It falls like a real chain. It's well designed right here, which kind of leads in this big yellow arm with all these pistons and everything else. One thing I would have liked is that these moved. It looks like they would move. It looks like it would have articulation. The only articulation is mainly in this, that it kind of swings around basically, but nothing else on this particular piece moves as such with the big old crane piece. Now, this does swing around like the big ion blasters on the other arm, but again, a little bit of movement, a little bit more articulation in this would have been solid, and this simply pegs into Wrecker's back. Now, this one, I gotta tell you, unless you know out in TV land, I couldn't tell you why Wrecker comes with a bunch of roses or just a bouquet, right? The roses, the bouquets is pretty solid. The wrap, I almost wish it was sculpted or done a bit better. It looks like electrical tape sort of wrapped around it. It's not the most ideal, right? As you can kind of see. However, the plants are cool. It kind of reminds me of the add-ons for the old Kenner Swamp Thing playset. So a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of like, okay, but I'm sure they'll tell us soon enough why he comes with roses. But Wrecker himself, again, it's a pretty solid, hefty robot. And I like his little mouthpiece right here. It looks like he's talking. That's a nice little function right there. I totally dig that little old-fashioned robot mouth kind of flapping around. You get some good articulation out of his head. It form fits to what how a robot would move. Wrecker right there on his chest with some cool 80s graphics. And then, of course, some big honking arms, like a grabby pincer arm. You got the big clodhopper suction cups right there. Very heavy duty. And part of me does wish that those were removable in some ways, but then that takes away from the idea of the toy of RoboForce. They're supposed to have suction cups. You got the big old piston pile driver right here for this arm. And again, all the different circuitry. Vonner killed it on that. That's pretty darn cool. All the sculpt work, all the wires, all the details. It's a very fun toy to look at and explore. And as you can see on the back right here, you got 2 portholes, and that's where the giant arms will fit into his back. And really just with the clodhopper feet, with the suction cups, moving it up, down, left, right, moving all the different joints. He's a pretty solid figure when you get him steady when using the suction cups. Otherwise, he can be very top heavy. His arms are insanely big, insanely heavy. It almost feels like a 2-pound figure. This is a brick of a toy right here, but rightfully so. It's a giant honkin' robot, and he has double jointed elbows, which work really well. You get some nice rotation. You got some bicep swivel as well. Just go easy, but nothing again you had to heat up, nothing like that. I really like the pincer hand right there. That's especially good for holding the bouquet, right? Now, I did think, much like Max, I thought, okay, well, then this guy should have some waist swivel. Either he does, and it's just not working for me, or truly he doesn't. I don't think he does, though. But again, the legs are solid. The knees, it's kind of nice in the sense you get double jointed knees, which go forward and backward, which when you are positioning this guy, getting him into some cool poses, it really does help. He doesn't have ankle rock or anything like that that kind of helps in positioning figures, but that's where those legs really help to sturdy him. And I totally dig that. Now, in getting these pieces, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just simply peg them in. There is a certain way to get them in, I will tell you that. And while it looks cool, it's kind of limiting in the sense of this is basically the look that they are going for. And much like I said with Max 89, it would have been nice to have a little bit more of a customization element to it. Maybe have one going which way, one going the other. Give it a little bit more articulation. But for having a giant robot figure, for seeing exactly what they're going for, utilizing what came before in the 80s, modernizing it, giving it a new spin, I totally get it. But I think that going down the line, further future waves, a little bit more articulation here and there in some of those elements. But otherwise, then everything else is really solid. But what is kind of cool, being that you can twist the arms around and kind of rotate the legs and rotate the head, you can kind of have it to where this is the front of him with all his giant wrecking ball materials. And with the bouquet of flowers, he holds it very well. I was told by Nacelle, it will be revealed soon why he has these. It's very Japanese at the same time, a robot bringing flowers. I've never had a robot give me flowers before, but I guess they're for Max. Never mind, I'll just be over here. Anyways, now in terms of the scalature for these figures, they're going to clock in around the 7.5-inch mark, which means they're going to tower over the original Optimus Prime from G1. Largely, they're going to tower over most toy brand figures. Hasbro, Mattel, Boss Fight Studios. Yeah, they're large robots, to be honest with you. McFarlane Toys, yeah, even though they're 7-inch, they're going to be taller than that. NECA Toys, Kenner, Playmates, you get the idea. Just kind of throwing in some oldies and newbies at the same time, just to show that scale, you know what I mean? But, to be honest with you, for the throwing the old Toy Biz days, well, I did find one figure taller than them, and that would, of course, be Giant Man, but you get the idea at this point. So that will wrap it up for my look at the brand new Nacelle Toys Robo Force Wave 1 featuring Max 89 and, of course, Wrecker. And you've heard my thoughts. Now I'm curious to know yours. Comment below. Let me know. Let's talk everything Robo Force. And again, if you are interested in these figures, I will put a link down in the description below for Entertainment Earth. You can pick them up. Keep in mind, they're going to be for a very specific collector, maybe an 80s enthusiast, maybe a robots collector. So they're going to be on the higher end. Of course, Nacelle Toys are just getting started. It's a brand new company, but give them a chance because I definitely recommend them. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, when it comes to very important toys, sure, we got a whole collection full of them, but try these out and see what you think. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.